You see it everywhere. People trying to escape boredom like it's a prison. But here's the uncomfortable question nobody wants to ask. Why does silence feel so threatening to you? Why does your mind panic the moment there's nothing to scroll, nothing to watch, nothing to distract you? That reaction isn't random, it's conditioning, and it's quietly wasting years of your life without you noticing. Most people think boredom is the enemy, something to fix, something to kill fast. But what if boredom isn't the problem at all? What if it's the signal your brain sends right before clarity, freedom, and real self development kick in? The mistake isn't feeling bored, the mistake is running from it. And that one habit alone is destroying mental focus, discipline, and long term personal growth for millions of people. If you've ever felt stuck, restless, unfulfilled, busy all day but empty at night, this isn't a motivation issue. It's a mindset issue. And once you understand what boredom actually does to your brain, you'll never look at your phone, your time management, or your productivity the same way again. Stay with me, because the insight you're about to hear only makes sense if you don't escape it. Most people think boredom is a flaw, something to eliminate as fast as possible. But neuroscience quietly tells a different story. When external stimulation drops, the brain doesn't shut down, it switches modes. This is where real self-development begins, not through noise, but through mental space. In these quiet gaps, your mindset stops reacting and starts observing. That's not laziness, that's cognitive preparation for personal growth. Inside those moments of nothing happening, a powerful network wakes up, the one responsible for self-reflection, identity, and meaning. It's the same system that connects life lessons into a coherent narrative. That slight discomfort you feel when waiting in line or sitting alone without your phone, that's your brain nudging you toward deeper processing. Discipline starts here, long before productivity tools or time management systems enter the picture. The problem is that this mental state doesn't feel good at first. The brain prefers quick rewards, fast stimulation, and predictable comfort. So when boredom appears, your instinct is to escape it. Scroll, tap, check, repeat. But that escape blocks the exact mental focus needed to integrate goals, values, and direction. Ironically, avoiding boredom slowly erodes your ability to live better with intention. Here's the subtle twist most people miss. Boredom isn't empty time, it's unstructured thinking time. And unstructured thinking is where your brain rehearses decisions, reprocesses emotions, and recalibrates priorities. Without it, productivity becomes mechanical and purpose disappears. And once the brain learns to fear silence, it starts demanding constant input, which sets the stage for a much bigger modern problem most people never connect to boredom at all. Here's a harsh psychology truth most people don't want to hear. You're not addicted to your phone, you're addicted to avoiding yourself. Every spare second becomes an emergency. Waiting in line? Scroll. Elevator ride? Scroll. 15 seconds of silence feels unbearable. And without noticing, your brain learns that stillness equals danger. That's not modern productivity. That's trained avoidance, quietly sabotaging your mindset and mental focus. Psychologists call this a self-reinforcing loop. The moment boredom appears, your brain reaches for stimulation to kill discomfort fast. The problem? That instant relief shuts down the part of the mind responsible for reflection, meaning, and personal growth. So you feel busy but strangely empty. You manage time better on paper, yet feel lost internally. And the more you escape boredom, the less capable your brain becomes of handling it. But here's where it gets even worse. Each time you interrupt boredom with stimulation, your brain rewires its expectations. It starts demanding novelty, speed, and constant reward just to feel okay. Discipline weakens, deep work feels painful, life lessons stop integrating, productivity turns reactive instead of intentional. You're doing more, but becoming less. And that's the hidden cost no app, planner, or hack will ever fix. This is the real doom loop. Avoid boredom, silence the reflective mind, lose meaning, feel restless, seek more distraction. It's subtle, invisible, and socially normalized. Everyone's doing it, so it feels harmless. But over time, it erodes your ability to sit with discomfort, which is the same skill required for growth, focus, and learning how to live better. And once this loop settles in, it doesn't just affect habits, it starts reshaping mental health itself. Here's the part nobody wants to admit. Anxiety and depression aren't just emotional problems, they're meaning problems. When life feels shallow, the mind panics. When days feel disconnected, the nervous system stays on edge. And when there's no space to reflect, your brain fills the silence with worry. This isn't weakness. It's what happens when mental focus never gets a chance to organize your inner world. Psychology shows that humans don't break down from hard lives, they break down from incoherent ones. When boredom disappears, so does the brain's ability to ask deeper questions. Why am I doing this? Where is this going? Does this even matter? Without those questions, personal growth stalls. Productivity keeps running, but the soul feels behind. And that mismatch quietly fuels anxiety. Depression often follows the same invisible path. Not from too much pain, but from too little meaning. When the mind never enters reflective mode, emotions stay unprocessed. Life lessons don't integrate. Everything feels flat, repetitive, and empty. So the brain searches for stimulation instead of purpose. Dopamine replaces direction, comfort replaces clarity, and discipline feels impossible because there's no why strong enough to support it. This is why distraction feels good short term but devastating long term. It numbs discomfort while deepening emptiness. You escape boredom, but you also escape coherence. And when meaning collapses, mental health follows. That's why fixing anxiety isn't just about calming down. It's about reconnecting the mind to something deeper. And strangely enough, that reconnection begins not with action, but with stillness. Here's the counterintuitive shift most people never experience. When you allow boredom, life becomes less boring, not more exciting, more meaningful. The brain stops begging for stimulation and starts extracting depth from ordinary moments. Work feels less draining, conversations feel richer, even routine tasks regain texture. This is where mindset matures, not through intensity, but through presence and mental focus. Creativity also shows up where boredom lives. Some of your best ideas don't appear during peak productivity. They emerge during low stimulation. Walking without headphones, showering without music, training at the gym with nothing but your thoughts. That's when the mind starts connecting unrelated dots. This isn't random. It's how the brain rehearses insight, problem solving, and long-term personal growth. More importantly, boredom opens the door to meaning. When distractions drop, deeper questions surface naturally. What am I building? What matters now? What no longer fits? These aren't philosophical luxuries. They're survival tools for long-term discipline. Without them, productivity becomes hollow. With them, even hard work feels chosen. That's how you stop living on autopilot and start learning how to live better. And here's the quiet benefit no one advertises. When you practice boredom, you become emotionally stronger. You tolerate discomfort better. You react less. You gain internal space before action. That space is where life lessons integrate and time management stops feeling like pressure. But this only works if boredom is intentional, not accidental. Which raises the real question: how do you train this skill in a world designed to destroy it? Here's the mental shift most people resist. Boredom isn't a problem to fix, it's a skill to train. And like any skill related to self-development, it starts small. You don't quit stimulation forever. You schedule its absence. 15 intentional minutes a day without input already begin to rewire your brain's expectations. No podcasts, no scrolling, just you and your thoughts learning to coexist again. The easiest place to start is where distraction feels harmless. Commutes, waiting rooms, gym sessions, meals. These micro moments silently shape your mindset. Try lifting weights without headphones once a week. Walk 1 block without touching your phone. Sit through a coffee without checking notifications. These aren't productivity losses. They're mental focus training disguised as simplicity. Then come the household rules, the ones that feel uncomfortable precisely because they work. No phone in the bedroom. No screens during family meals. No late-night scrolling just to relax. Your brain needs predictable offline zones to recalibrate discipline and emotional regulation. Think of it as time management for your nervous system, not punishment. Structure creates freedom, not restriction. The final mindset upgrade is accepting that not everything is urgent and not everything needs your awareness. You don't need real-time updates on every opinion, trend, or crisis. Your grandparents survived without knowing everything and somehow built meaningful lives anyway. When you stop treating stimulation like oxygen, boredom stops feeling threatening. And that's when something deeper begins to reorganize inside your mind, something most people never consciously train. Here's the uncomfortable credibility test most advice fails. Does the person actually live this? Because knowing the science means nothing if your own brain is still trapped in the same loops. That's why real discipline isn't loud, it's structured. Clear boundaries remove daily negotiations. When rules are predefined, willpower stops bleeding. This isn't about being extreme, it's about protecting mental focus before it collapses. One simple rule changes everything: no devices after 7 p.m. Not because screens are evil, but because the brain needs a predictable descent into calm. Evening overstimulation delays reflection, disrupts emotional processing, and quietly sabotages sleep quality. Another non negotiable: phones stay out of the bedroom. Your mind can't reset if it's on alert mode all night. Personal growth requires recovery, not constant input. Family meals without screens might sound old fashioned, but psychologically, they're powerful. Shared attention grounds the nervous system. It trains presence. It reminds the brain that meaning exists outside stimulation. Add regular social media fasts, not forever, just long enough to feel withdrawal, and something fascinating happens. Cravings fade, clarity returns. You don't lose productivity, you regain agency. This is exactly why most people don't need more hacks. They need a reset, a way to reorganize the week so the brain stops living in reactive mode. That's the gap the digital hangover system was designed to close, helping you step out of cognitive overload, rebuild discipline, and regain control over productivity without burning out. Not motivation, structure. And once structure is in place, boredom stops feeling scary and starts feeling strategic. Here's the harsh truth most people won't admit: they try boredom, fail once, and quit forever. They sit in silence for 2 minutes, feel restless, anxious, irritated, and conclude something's wrong with them. But psychology says the opposite. That discomfort isn't failure, it's withdrawal. Your brain is reacting exactly as expected when stimulation disappears. If you quit here, you're not practicing boredom, you're reinforcing avoidance. Another common mistake is turning boredom into a performance task. People sit quietly but start optimizing the moment, reflecting aggressively, forcing insights, planning their entire life. That keeps the brain in control mode. Real boredom works when you allow the mind to wander without direction. No agenda, no productivity pressure. If you turn boredom into another productivity hack, you kill the very process that restores mental focus and coherence. Many also sabotage the process by mixing boredom with microstimulation. Sitting without your phone, but checking the clock every 30 seconds. Walking without music, but replaying conversations in your head compulsively. That's not stillness, that's disguised noise. The brain never fully drops into reflective mode. Discipline weakens because your nervous system never learns safety in silence. Growth requires full absence of input, not diluted versions. And the most dangerous mistake? Expecting boredom to feel good quickly. Meaning doesn't arrive as pleasure, it arrives as clarity after discomfort. If you measure success by how enjoyable it feels, you'll abandon the practice before it rewires anything. The real signal of progress is subtle: less urgency, fewer impulsive checks, calmer decision making. When boredom stops triggering panic, you know your mindset is finally upgrading, quietly, steadily, intentionally. Let's be honest, none of this matters if you keep doing what everyone else is doing. So here's the direct message for you and for me: put the phone down. You don't need more stimulation. You need more meaning. And meaning doesn't show up when your mind is constantly running away from silence. If you want real self-development, stronger discipline, sharper mental focus, and a mindset that actually supports productivity, you have to stop escaping boredom and start using it. So ask yourself, where are you numbing instead of reflecting? Where are you scrolling instead of thinking? What part of your life feels heavy, not because it's hard, but because it's empty? Boredom is not your enemy. It's the doorway your brain uses to reconnect life lessons, restore coherence, and help you learn how to live better. But only if you stay long enough for it to work. And one last thing before you go. Understanding boredom is powerful, but it's not enough. Because if your week is still chaotic, your attention fragmented, and your time management broken, this insight won't stick. That's why I made a video explaining the deeper mistake that was quietly wasting my life for decades and how fixing it changed everything. Click the next video on your screen. It took me 39 years to fix this one mistake that was wasting my life. Don't repeat it. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with us. Because here, we don't chase noise. We upgrade the mind, one idea at a time. Stay quiet, stay sharp, stay in progress.